there's so much joy in reproduction.
Exactly.
In general. You know, even when you plant something and you see it grow. When you have a livestock and they deliver, it's just a joy that I can explain. I'm sure you are. Hello guys, once again welcome to Semenshia Farms and Value Farm. As you guys know, I'm still in Uganda learning so much from these amazing guys that are doing amazing things to change farming in Africa, and I'm so pleased and honored to be here with all the learnings from cattle farm, pig farm, and now we're going to be talking about goat farming, because goat farming is another business that I'm really getting very excited for, and I know most of you are also thinking about it, with all the good reasons that there is. So today, let's speak to the guys who have been doing it and have been doing it well and learn from them. Hi guys.
Hello. How are you?
Once again, thank you. I'm good, as you can see.
How's your morning at Value Farm?
The morning started with a tour, went to feed some pigs, you know, creating some contents with you guys, and cattle farm, everything. It's been great. The weather is amazing, as you guys can see. So I'm very happy, Tina, and thank you for hosting me.
Our pleasure.
All right guys, today I want us to talk about goat farming, and as you guys can see, they have a beautiful goat pen here that I can't wait to enter. I've been seeing Tina walk through by herself and now I want to go inside too.
See.
Yes, but guys, tell us, how did this goat project start?
You can start.
Well, initially, the beginning of Value Farm is one that we've told a few times, but for those of you who've never seen it, you know, when we first wanted to get into farming, the idea was to get into, you know, to open a hatchery in Uganda. That was like part of my motivation.
Nice.
I wanted to, you know, end the dependency of us having to import poultry from the UK, from, you know, France, and through all over Europe. So initially we wanted to grow ducks, we wanted to grow chickens, we wanted to grow a few other, you know, livestock options. But then we fell in love with, of course, pigs. But then again, what really stole the show were the goats. And me, for some reason, like, I'm obsessed with goats. Like, we could be driving through the village. The goats could be in a shed behind somebody's compound. I'm like, there are goats here.
In there. You have the spirit.
And then we have to stop the car. We have to go and ask about the breed, you know, where it's from, the type of goat it is. And so initially, you know, as we were building the perimeter fence, we just started out with 3 goats. And then that just grew from there. Yeah.
And Tina, what for you too? What was the inspiration? Were you a goat lover like him?
I got the what?
The
love from him, of course, was put to me as well, because, you know, as he said, as we were driving all the time, like sometimes you come from the farm, you're really very tired. He would say, stop. I'm seeing some goats right there. Let's go and ask them. So we had to stop and, you know, ask. But by the time, I think my love, the actual love for the goats, started when we started now bringing the numbers coming in. When they started to produce from the farm. The little kids. I love the kids so much. Like, I fell in love with the goats. So whenever I go in there, I first start with the kids, then of course I go to the rest, but I really love the goats right now. Every time I come here, the first thing, before when I go to the pig side, most of the time I'm thinking about these kids here. Yes.
I think there's so much joy in reproduction in general. You know, even when you plant something and you see it grow. When you have a livestock and they deliver, it's just a joy that I can explain. I'm sure you are. But Griffin, I share a passion with you there. I love goats, but I like the smell of goats. In food, like that's me. Like when I was a kid, anytime we make goat soup, I don't wash my hands.
What?
Yes, I clean my hand, but I won't wash it because I just want to smell.
Oh my God.
That's how bad I love it.
Do you know what, Fred? That even reminds me of one of our friends behind the camera. weird when you said that one time that
Yeah.
he loves the smell of goats. I was like, are you crazy?
Oh, yeah.
So now you're bringing it up. I think it's not crazy. It's just
And
the
one
love.
thing I was very concerned of was when I was importing the goats from South Africa. Are they gonna have the smell?
Oh.
I was like, are they gonna taste the same? So the first thing I did was to smell them, before even like looking at and then they really smells good. I entered the pen, I was like, yes, that's what I'm talking
That's what
about.
I'm
So
talking about. This is money. Smell of money.
That's what I think about. When I smell the goats, I just think of, number one, we love, preserving some of the heritage breed as well as, crossing to enhance the overall production.
Yeah.
But then the smell of goats is the smell of money because as much as I love to see them alive, and again, we try to give them the best life as possible when they're here in our care. But when it's time to process, that's always an early Christmas for us here at the farm because, if you have goats to sell, they don't go and sell for long. In fact, right now in the group that we're in, there are people that actually flew to Uganda looking to purchase 3,000 goats, 500 goats at a time. So your limitation is how many you can provide. So, if you're not in this industry, then you're really missing
out.
a major opportunity.
Sure.
But the reason myself, I fell in love with the goats, apart from the economic aspect of it, goats, especially the crosses, especially the boys, they're very personable. Like they like being around people. They're not afraid, and I love interacting with them because especially it's therapeutic when they leave this house. When you see them leave and they go out to graze to see like 300-400 goats just moving in one flock, and I could just watch that all day.
I know.
my
I
God.
love sitting in my pen,
Yeah.
just watching them eat.
Leave alone that being in the field is so therapeutic when you're just seeing them graze, moving around. Guys, it is really amazing. It's very exciting.
No, this is the joy of farming, guys. And if you're sitting there in UK, in Germany, in the US, thinking about doing farming, this is the joy. This is what comes. He said something, about the economics, but what we are feeling right now here, and this experience that we are sharing with you, is more than anything, guys. It's what keeps us young. And keeps us happy doing whatever we are doing, right? So, guys, so you got a few goats and you started. How has the journey been? What are some of the learnings? How has it been for you guys?
It has been quite a journey, of course. We started with a few goats here, and the multiplication has been really very good so far. We've lost a few, but of course we learned from our mistakes as well, from the kids that we lost, from the grown ones that we've lost. Of course we learned how to really take care of them as well. We had to bring in a vet, at least to come once a month, to also check, also guide, but of course training our staff as well to make sure the goats are in good condition. If in case they see a goat not feeling perfect, they need to really put it aside, separate it so that we can find the best solution of treating it. So it is about taking care of the goats very well. That has really brought us where we are right now.
Great. Christine, now I want to ask you, what is your feeding process? How do you feed your goats?
Well, we actually we planted a variety of grass. Elephant grass is one. Of course, we also planted some brocaria as well earlier, but it's not yet ready. But we have, I would say, the land itself is somewhat substantial. So we do have paddocks in the front of the farm that we're going to be moving to the back of the farm here so that we can do a rotational grazing, particularly on days like this where the ground itself is damp. Now that the sun is out, so the goats are on schedule to go out this afternoon. I would say around like 12:30 to 1 o'clock. But we free range them on the farm, but we want to move away from that, where we will definitely be doing intensive, more like 70-30, right? Because the reason we're gonna move away from it, granted they love to go out there into the bush and enjoy some of the different brushes, we want to have absolute control over what they eat, because then it becomes more predictable, right? You can control how much in terms of their weight gain, the level of consistency, because sometimes they go to the bush and their favorite items might not necessarily be there, and they don't always get a balanced diet, right? But we want to actually shift that, particularly since we're now starting to pivot to bringing in the more pure breeds in. You know, so we want to make that like a standard practice. Not to mention the numbers of goats we hope to have at the farm. You know, to be able to free range 20,000 goats, you know, might prove to be a challenge. So it's best that we actually adopt these practices now with these small numbers that we have.
It's too late.
That way, as we scale up, we'll have the system down.
Yeah.
So we do practice what we preach here.
No, and I think it's great. Even though the goats are free ranging, they are free ranging on their own land.
Yeah.
You don't see their goats in the community.
No.
You don't see their neighbors, you know, they're making money at the expense of their neighbor's farm. And I think that's one thing that I'm very against, and I preach a lot, that if you want to start a livestock farm, you need to get your land, you need to get your feed. Don't become rich at the expense of your community or your neighbor, right? There are a lot of farm here as we're driving by, but you know, they're feeding on their land. And now you're thinking about going more intensive farming, which is great. That's what I do with my goats as well, and it's because we also planted the brachiaria grass and we're able to store as hay, and also for them to feed on fresh in the morning, and that has been amazing. In terms of like management, what have you guys done to secure or to be able to get to this stage?
Well, the number one thing I would say, what we learned along the way, that we needed to have adequate supervision of both the staff as well as the amount of people that takes care of the actual flock. Because, you know, what we would find in the beginning, we would send out 200 goats and like maybe 180 returns. And so being able to have a responsible person on the ground to make sure there's a head count before the goats leave the pen and the same number of return. And if there's a straggler out there that don't make it, then they need to go out and find that goat, and they often do. So that's number one. Number two, I think as far as management is concerned, making sure that, you know, we actually have someone dedicated to taking care of the kids made a huge difference. It's still not perfect because the kids are very delicate. I mean, they're very delicate, particularly these crosses, as well as the more pure breeds that we've actually brought onto the farm. You know, you have to really be careful with them. In your case, the fact that you're in West Africa makes it easier for you with the goats, believe it or not. Because the more wet the area is, the more challenges that you face. Like right now in this early morning dew, most of the larvae from the worms are highly active at this time. So we are restricted as far as when we can actually even take them out and expose them to the element. So that's where you have a huge advantage, right? Because
I'll take that.
No, seriously, Mother Nature's on your side on that end. But over here we get more rain. It stays damp longer throughout the year. We have multiple rainy seasons, and when it rains here in Uganda, it really rains. You know, we don't just get a few drizzles and then it goes away. It happens rarely, but most of the time, you know, it gets to the point where the roads, you can't even pass them because of the amount of water that we get throughout the region. So, you know, but managing the schedule when they go out to eat, when they return, and of course, you know, making sure that you give them the adequate vitamins and the deworming that they need is very, very important.
I think that's great. Talking about goat farming, my fans in West Africa, you guys know that, you know, farming in Africa has been importing Boer goat from South Africa, and if you need any Boer goat pure breed, Kalahari, Savannah, there's a WhatsApp number below. You can get in touch with us and place your order with us. I know you guys are going into that as well. Tell us more about it, because I know there are a lot of East Africans also watching.
Wow, we also do the same. Of course, we have different breeds from the Alpines as well. Are you thinking of Alpine as well?
I haven't thought about
it. Okay,
but,
Alpines, then also the Savannahs, the Kalahari Red, the Boas. We are going to be importing more goats, pure breeds from South Africa. So for those people who have been really asking, we want to really come and purchase goats from you guys, we are going to be ready, and we are really breeding enough stock for you guys, so that when you come here, we can be able to provide for you the right numbers that you need, because we don't want to just start, then we run out of stock when we're just starting. So we really want to breed so that we can be able to supply at least the eastern part of Africa and also expand with time.
You know, that's a great point, but I think like the main reason we want to do it is essentially something similar to what you want to do for your region, because the expense that you have to incur to bring these goats into the country is insanely, I mean, it's just ungodly to think that you're gonna spend between $1,200 to $1,500 for one goat. Now, that's the price of starting a business. That's the price of being a pioneer, a trailblazer.
Yeah.
You know, you have to make the ultimate sacrifice. You have to literally lay on your sword for what you believe to have a proof of concept. The reason we want to bring more of these goats here to Uganda, to East Africa. Now, there's a few people that are doing it, but we want to actually streamline the process. We want to make it more accessible to everyone, you know, that's interested in getting their hands on these breeds, because let's face it, we are blessed with the Muvende goats here. That's one of the local goats here in the region that are, again, very sizable, very resistant. But when it comes to the actual growth rate, right, bringing these goats in both to cross, and also if you want to go into breeding, to have access to pure breeding stock is going to be a game changer for the region. And we want to be your source for that. We want you guys to think, when you're thinking about just going from the entry level to advanced, we want you to think about value farming, of course, farming in Africa on the West Coast. So stay tuned, right? We'll take you along for the journey.
Yeah, exciting, guys. Together, guys, they're gonna serve the East and we're gonna serve the West, and
we're gonna do our part.
Yeah.
To do what we can.
Yeah, and I agree that, you know, starting with the right breed is very important, and that's why we are pioneering this and taking that first step, and we want to invite you guys on that journey with us. Thank you guys so much for enjoying this conversation. We are enjoying ourselves because this is what we enjoy doing, and I'm glad you guys are sticking around and learning as well. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for more discussion on goats coming these weeks and days. Thank you very much, and say bye-bye to you guys.
Bye, guys.